Everything you must do this week to gear up in WoW. A big week for gearing out your mains and all. So let's check this one out here from Dalaran.
Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and this week is a massive week for anybody playing in Season 2 of Midnight. Not only do we have a variety of various different class buffs that are likely going to do a bit of a shake-up for the overall meta, but also
the class buffs are massive this week.
to gear up so many of your characters with the most amount of gearing catch-up available for any of the alts you're looking to play this season, thanks to the Timewalking event that is available this week. But also, this week is an opportunity for you to get the most amount of crafted items in order to pretty much start working on your best in slot characters. We also have opportunities to get even more crests than ever before in order to make sure that all of your upgraded gear can be caught up as quickly as possible. But also, this week is the first week where we get to finally open up our Great Vault. And this is also the first week where players will finally be able to loot their first bonus reroll token, which has the capacity to get you some of your best in slot gear. And I'm talking about Mythic track items that you could possibly get either from Mythic Plus dungeons or even heroic raids. So you can actually speed up your character's gearing journey faster than ever before. There's definitely a lot going on this week, so I wanted to do a quick guide in order to make sure that you don't stray away and can maximize your gearing for the Season 2 on every one of your characters as efficiently as possible. With that being said, as always, if you guys want to see more regular updates from Midnight for Season 2 content, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. Now, the first thing you'll do is when you log in for the reset is, outside of checking out the new class buffs that are coming out this week.
Dalaran just makes his characters hotter and hotter every single time he does one of these. It's up, but he just goes through the customization and tries to make the hottest freaking I don't know how he does it, but here we are again.
You're also going to be looking at some of the new items that you get from the Great Vault. However, there's actually a bit of a strategy of how to optimize your Great Vault, and it doesn't matter what type of dungeons or raids you've done this week. In a lot of the cases, Great Vaults are actually going to turn into picking up your Nebulous Void Core.
Yeah, it might. I mean, I'll be honest, though. I'm going to go for tier set bonus. Obviously, if I get my business slot weapon or something, sure. But tier set bonus is really what I need this week. I have none right now, so I do need at least a 2 set. It's important to get that. So if I do get tier set from the vault, I'm just going to take it. Don't forget, like, your bonus roll is great. But at the end of the day, there's still a list of shit you're going to roll through. So there's a chance you don't get what you want out of it. So if you do get what you want out of your vault, you should take it still rather than taking the bonus roll. It's the same one from last time. You're talking about the character 4? How do you know that? Did you screenshot the last one? What's going on here? Yeah. Samiccus
which is essentially your reroll token to use in dungeons and raids. The reason why the bonus roll token is actually really good is that it allows you to roll mythic items from dungeons as well as heroic raids.
Yeah, the bonus roll is great.
It's an opportunity for you to focus on specific items unless they're grateful for some reason for you to do really good items. So in a lot of the cases, players are actually looking to pick up their Nebulous Void Core for the bonus rerolls and then use it immediately instead of taking any of the items from the Great Vault, which is going to be great even if you don't have a character that's done a lot of stuff this week. Just filling out the Great Vault with menial content allows you to at least pick up the Void Core, which requires at least 3 slots for your raids, dungeons, and world content to be filled in one way or another. The only reason why players are actually choosing not to go for the Nebulous Void Core is maybe one of the items from your raid slots or your dungeon slots is a best in slot, like possibly your best trinket for the rest of the season, or maybe one of the best weapons from some of the heroic bosses that you defeated so far that is a direct upgrade and will be your best item because those items will drop in Mythic Track. That's the only reason that you would want to take any of the items from the Great Vault. In a lot of the cases, for many of you, you're probably going to be picking up Nebulous Void Core.
Most of the time, you
get
probably
some
will.
Insanely good items from any of your other filled out slots. Now, if you do fall into the camp of the reroll token, which many of you are likely going to, the best places for you to use those reroll tokens will be either on some of the later heroic bosses, and that is the most ideal use case. A lot of those bosses have a variety of extremely powerful items.
Yeah, and Blizzard's made raiding so much better now when it comes to gearing. Doing heroic raid, or you got to understand the way the reroll works is it gives you whatever that thing or you're doing would have given you from your vault in terms of level, right? In terms of item level. So getting a bonus roll in heroic raid now gives you myth track gear from your vault, which means if you use a bonus roll in the raid, you're going to get myth track gear. So that's why, I mean, right now, like, raiding is so much better than anything else when it comes to gearing out.
a reroll token on them, you will get those items on Mythic track instead of the normal hero track because of some of the changes for Season 2 content. At least based on the PTR testing and the blue post, we haven't actually got to experience the system so far, but the idea is these items should be coming out in a much higher quality than previously. Especially if you can look at some of the final bosses like Ulatek, you get the font, you get yourself the weapon potentially that has additional bonus effects, which usually are very, very powerful and much sought after by many classes. So using those on some of those high quality boss kills is going to be the best way for you to utilize those reroll tokens. Another place where you could potentially use it in dungeons, but ideally the bosses are better. You see?
Yeah, the bosses are better, and you're definitely not going to want to use it in anything less than a +10. +10, okay, end of run loot. Then you can get yourself some mid-track gear, but otherwise, I mean, just use them in Raid. Raid is the best place, and I think a lot of people's best in slot comes from Raid this season.
In Raid bosses, a lot of them don't really have as many items on a loot table. There is a set amount of items you can get.
This is true,
so
too.
Your chance to roll the item you're looking for, or at least some sort of an upgrade from the boss, is very, very high. In dungeons, you're basically picking any item from that entire loot table, not just from a very, very specific set of bosses that you roll on. So it makes it a little bit harder for you to focus on specific items. But if at the very least, like if you can't really get anything good from raids, dungeons is another great place to invest your bonus reroll into. Now, this week is also going to be a fantastic week for any of you looking to catch up odds because pretty early on, we're getting a time walking event for a brand new season.
Yeah.
This is going to be amazing. Unless those are for some reason changes in schedule, the time walking for Wrath of the Lich King expansion is going to be incredibly good, both for catching up characters, but also for getting some new raid items that you can get from a simple quest. The weekly quest for time walking, as it is with every single week, is to complete at least 4 time walking dungeons, and you can get a box with a champion trek item from the current raid of Ulatek. So possibly some of those endgame items like trinkets from final few bosses are, and as well as rare items, are all on the table for the items that you can earn. On top of it, you also get a nice new bonus because during the time walking week for Wrath of the Lich King, you also do have the time walking raid available.
Yeah, this is important right here.
Specifically is going to be the
you can get tier set. Yep, boys, you could get, I think this is the first time ever, you can get tier set from the raid cache that you get at the end of clearing the raid.
Raid of Ulduar.
Current season
and
tier set.
And it's available and
Heroic.
accessible on time walking difficulty, which allows you to get time walking versions of these items. This also means that you can get all the loot, like for example, mounts if you haven't gotten this already, but also a lot of the bosses come with champion track items, which will be amazing for any of you that got all to look at to catch up to jump into the season. But maybe you've done all your delves, you've done your prey, you haven't really got the items, you're looking to get as many upgrades as possible, and this raid is just filled with a ton of champ track items, and it's generally one of the more generous rates in terms of the amount of drops that players can get. And there is also a unique quest within the raid as well. A quest that awards you a random item of hero track quality from this raid roster. So it could be anything from any of the weapons, any of the helms, cloaks, trinkets potentially. And there's some actually really strong trinkets like Living Flame, really good with any 2-minute classes. In the past, this thing was good. I don't know if it still holds up, but it used to be an insanely good trinket. Some of those items could actually be a huge upgrade for any of your characters, mains, or alts that you're still gearing for the season, and could possibly give you a little bit of a competitive edge until you can finally get some of the proper Ulatek gear for the season. So definitely, Time Walking event is going to be a must-do on
he didn't even mention the tier
characters as well.
Yeah, he didn't even mention.
This week is also going to be a fantastic week for any of you looking to craft items.
If anyone thinks I'm like bullshitting on this, I'll show you guys right here. No, it's definitely something this week. Yep, tier set. Right, new drops, reward cache, Wrath of the Lich King, Time Walking, tier now drops from it. So yeah, it's the what's it called? The Ulduar one. So the cache of time warp treasures could give you tier gear from the current raid, containing gear, badges, and rare mounts and pets from the expansion. Yes, from the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, but tier could also be rewarded now. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't say it.
If you haven't gotten your second item crafted this week potentially
are we time walking? We probably will
to make your second item. So maybe past week you might have made a weapon. Now could be an opportunity for you to make some sort of an item, possibly with an embellishment to go with it. So this could be possibly your second best craft, possibly best in slot items that you'll have for the rest of the season, unless you're one of those classes that had to change up crafts later down the line. This is an opportunity for you to make another guaranteed item. Or if you're, let's say you're playing a class that has a two-handed weapon, then likely you're not really going to be getting it. But every other class, a huge portion of classes should be getting the second craft this week. So definitely knock it out and get it done out of the way. Get all of your mythic pluses done in order to make sure you get all those mythic quests necessary in order to be able to craft those items. You will need at least 80 of them in order to be able to make the item specifically.
Right, a lot of crests.
But definitely worth knocking out, as it's a guaranteed upgrade that doesn't play around RNG.
And as I mentioned this morning, if you're missing a void core or you have too many void cores, Blizzard's working through fixes this entire week about the void core issues. A lot of people have been missing them. So if you don't have 5 or you can't get 5, they're going to fix that.
Someone you can craft directly for your character.
Mythic Plus has been annoying. Really?
Another activity that's actually worth doing is doing the Delve boss. If you haven't done them already, and unfortunately if you potentially are having to do them this week, then you missed out on the Hall of Fame, but still there's a chance for you to get a bunch of rewards from the boss. The boss will be in the Venerable Deep's Delve. Now, the boss himself is quite difficult, especially if you do him on a hard mode. But it's
yeah, he is. Look, he's not. Damn, look at this look at this cheating ass bullshit. Unbelievable. I went in there. You guys saw me yesterday. I memory gamed the shit out of this thing. I almost had it, man. Freaking Valera. My Valera is only level 22, and she really fucked me by stunning the damn ad. I totally had this freaking fight done. Unbelievable. I walked in there, no tier set, no nothing. Almost beat the shit out of him. Freaking sucks. But anyways, yeah, D-Boy, you play Og Voker, that's your problem, man. You're playing like the worst class in the game right now. But stick with it. It'll get better. I promise you. They're going to buff him at some point. Did you reach the second? Yeah, I did. I got him down to, what was it? 50% at one point, and then a bitch freaking went and stunned the ad, and it completely fucked me because I couldn't death grip him more than twice, and he sat there, and then I couldn't kill him, and then I died. So I mean, yeah, well, I blame Valera.
It's actually worth doing on hard mode because it actually awards players with additional crests, 60 bonus hero crests.
I think I got about 40%
that are not part of the weekly cap, as well as 30 bonus mythic crests, also not part of the weekly cap. This gives you the opportunity to get even more crests to invest either into crafted items or upgrading the rest of your gear, so it's definitely worth doing. And the best part is, like, a lot of the cool rewards from the boss comes from soloing him, but you don't have to solo to get those crests. Just doing them in a group makes it that much easier because you have more classes to get interrupts and dispels and all the other mechanics dealt with. Doing them in the group is definitely worth doing, even if you are not going to be doing them solo, because of the extra crests. It's something that you should do at least on your main character once, just for that one-time bonus of hero and mythic crests.
Yeah, the crests are a big deal.
That'll actually make it easier for you to gear your character throughout the season.
Yeah.
Outside of that, we also do have our regular gearing journey for this week. Make sure if you're trying to gear out a character, get your prey out of the way. That's an opportunity for at least 2 champion track items for a character. Plus, eventually you can do a quest to unlock a boss summon that you can utilize in Delve. In Delve from there, you get about 6 restored coffer keys a week. So that's potentially 6 more,
lot.
or potentially even
Delves
more
are fun.
champion track items for you to farm up from Delves. Plus, either a map or a boss summon that drops a map. That gives you another champion or hero track item from there as well. So definitely worth doing. And outside of that, just spam your Mythic Plus dungeons for the rest of the week. Ideally, you want to do your dungeons, and it looks like by this point of the season, it's ideally best done as a plus 12 difficulty or even plus 10. Plus 12 is where you get the most amount of crests, but anything 10 and above will get you a bunch of farmable hero track gear, which will be best in slot items that you can just endlessly farm outside of the items you can get from the raid for the season to make sure that your character is as strong as it can be.
Right, and doesn't plus 10 give you myth track gear from the vault? Am I wrong about that? I think you get heroic track from the end of the run and then myth track from the vault. I don't know. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. I just know about raid right now because that's what I've been doing. I haven't done the Mythic Plus yet this season.
Before we dive into some of the more difficult content.
I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Outside of that, be sure to remember to use the bonus roll token either in dungeons or in raids, depending on the items that you're looking for, which is going to be a little bit different depending on the class. So at that point, that might be a good idea for you to reference whatever class guide you're following for the season in order to make sure that you're farming all of your best slot items to make sure your character is at peak gearing capacity for the season 2. But with that being said, as always, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching this update, and I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did enjoy this update or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like, because I would very much appreciate it. Be sure to join our Discord community if you want to keep up with all things Midnight, especially when it comes to Season 2 content. The links to that are in the description for every single video we post over on the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.
Yeah, nice video. Big week for gearing for sure. Lots of events going on, lots of ways to get gear, whether it's crafting, whether it's time walking, or anything else. And then obviously the bonus rolls, the raid, your first vault, and all that stuff. And Mythic Plus, of course. Yeah, big week, big season ahead. This is probably one of the weeks that people are going to get the biggest gap in item levels in terms of pushing their item levels up. Nice one overall from Dalaran Gaming.